to today's Game Dev Podcast with Giraffe Head Studios. I'm Rory, and with me is
Steve-O.
Thank you very much for joining us today. We've got an interesting one for you. We've got a very special guest coming on. Addison from, what was the studio name? It's Sugio. I'm going to have to confirm the pronunciation. SugoiPenguin Gaming. Sorry, I probably just butchered that, but he's going to come on and talk to us about the game My Liege, which is a choose-your-own-adventure RPG where you lead the smallest noble house in the realm and you try to grow your influence while serving your peasants, family, and uphold your oaths to your liege.
Sounds interesting.
It does. It could be a good little gem, that. So we'll bring Addison on in around about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. We'll just have a quick catch-up first, because what happened? We missed the last podcast for various reasons. I think it was sickness and all sorts of various other excuses. Children,
sickness.
Yes. Yeah. So we didn't get to do it. So it's kind of good to be back. I'm glad to be back here and waffling on. I hope the audio is good. If it's not, please tell me in the chat. Let me know if I'm too loud, if Steve's too loud, and the opposite, obviously. I do have a warning on the stream here. What does this say? The stream's current bitrate. Oh, I think it's my upload speed is possibly not too great today. So how this will come across, I don't know. Hopefully it'll be alright.
We will soon find out.
So anyway, we've had a busy week. What did we do this week? Steve and I went to the London Games Festival, which was very interesting. We met some really cool people there. There were some really cool games going there. There was one notable one was Robes of Wrinkles, which was quite a fun-looking game. It's a dungeon crawler with Monty Python-esque humour throughout. So I like that idea. Obviously, it's anything like that always makes me chuckle. Really nice kind of cel-shaded style visuals, nice bits of physics when breaking down walls and so on, and you walk around holding this skull that helps you defeat the hordes of
the talking knights. Skull.
Yeah, which is good. It's a fun little project. So that looked really good. That stood out to me anyway. Also, we saw the Funko Pops game that what was it called? Funko Frenzy. Which
Funko
is a
Frenzy.
Really cool looking game. There's some amazing IPs in there. There's a mini Back to the Future game. There's a Hot Fuzz game, and graphically, you can clearly tell that it's somehow heavily influenced by the Lego games. Somehow, but it looked gorgeous. It was a good event. There were some good talks as well.
We had a good time. It was pretty busy, wasn't it?
It was.
We looked at lots of different games, and we went around speaking to developers, audio guys, indies, AAAs. We got lots of good advice, lots of good feedback, and we made some contacts. So a good bit of networking overall.
Absolutely. And nice to just get out of the office and go out for the day. It was a fairly pleasant day as well, wasn't it, for a change?
Well, that's led on to us booking tickets for Develop Brighton.
Ah, yes.
Where we're going to go down there for 2 to 3 days. And we are basically going to network the hell out of it.
Yeah, no, there was quite a lot of suggestion that Develop Brighton is very, very good for networking and meeting up with other people, because you never know who you're going to bump into there. So I have to admit, I'm quite excited about that one. We're going to be entering Ragdoll's Physics Experiments into the Indie Showcase. It's only 10 slots, so it's a tricky one. It's a shot in a million, but we're going to enter that in there and see if we have any luck there. But if not, we'll just be going anyway. So very much looking forward to that.
We got to the selection process as well, didn't we? With for the final.
Oh, OTK.
OTK, yes.
Yeah, so that's
and we're waiting back on that, aren't we?
Yeah, we've got through 2 rounds. Yeah, we're just waiting to hear whether we're into the final. Obviously, if we get into the OTK showcase, then that's going to be a really nice one for sure. So that's quite exciting. What else is going on? I don't know.
Well, there's been some nice updates with the game.
Yeah, I've been very busy in the game.
Devlog.
Game.
The game, yeah. I forgot about that, yeah.
Excuse me. I have to have my tea every few minutes. I am British, after all. Yes. So let me think. There's been a lot going on with the game. It's very exciting. I'll bring it up and
yeah.
I'll give a bit of a live update. So I've covered a lot of this in the Devlog 12 that came out today. But I think it'd be quite fun to cover this now. So I've done. Let's hop into
the lift.
Wow, that might be quite loud. I'm just going to turn that down there a little bit. So, yeah. What I was going to say is I don't know how good the frame rate will be because my PC has literally everything in the world running on it to facilitate this stream. But let's have a look. I think. Yes. So I've been doing lots of work with just sort of the aesthetic. So making a lot of the areas look, just a little bit more inhabited, less clean white. A few bits of bit more interesting details and so on. I do like that yellow on that black floor. That looks great. And a huge one is this entrance to the museum, which is
looking gorgeous.
It is looking all right, isn't it? So we have a quick wander down here. Now this is my favourite thing: is coming out of this purpley blue area to reveal that, and then slowly walking down this corridor and just have it turning grey. That's nice. And also, in case you hadn't noticed, I've replaced the colour on the doors because they were a little bit beige. Now they're kind of this nice modern grey looking colour. And yeah, there's some fun art on the wall. So we're doing a little bit of parodying there with Mona Blue. And also there was these. So if you haven't seen the devlog yet, I've kind of run a bit of a competition in there. It's basically the first person that can comment with all 3 of the films that I'm parodying here will get a prize of some form, which will very likely be a key to my previous game, Who is Abby, or it might be a Ragdoll related something. Rory's a bit on the quiet side. Steve is good. Oh, so I'm just gonna turn myself up a touch. Thank you very much for that feedback, Sir Bullington. So, so that was Bluey's visit to London. He's just getting a selfie.
He's having a great time.
And doing a bit of surfing with sharks. So yeah, that's the what do you call it? The museum. So this is all looking gorgeous down here. Very, very pleased with all of that. And then,
just to explain as well, the museum is just a fun side part of the game.
Yeah, it's a bonus area essentially.
Which has been created.
Yes, so it will have things that are related to the development of the game, lots of in-game lore stuff, and also some collectibles and some hidden things that will allow you to maybe get more money that you can use in the shop. I don't know. Let's just quickly do this one so the shop is here, and what will happen is when you walk up, the screen comes down, and you'll be able to interact with it and unlock things that you can then take into the sandbox. And the screen will work in the same way as this one does, where it's kind of projected onto the monitor. So wherever possible, we're trying to do UI in game, sort of in the world, rather than flat on the screen. Although not everywhere, but in a lot of places. The other thing that it's kind of interesting to talk about is down here. This is the tutorial area. And it's all very much still in progress, so let's just start from here. And this is where you will begin the game the very, very first time you launch it. You'll come into this room here. There'll be more things going on. There'll be some kind of animated sequence that'll be the welcoming and introduction sequence and just get you sort of into the facility. And then you will enter through this door. And the first corridor is teaching you basically to press shift to run. There'll be some sort of stuff there. maybe another sort of animated sequence, something will happen, and then you come into this area, and here is where you learn how to jump. Like so. You will carry on again. This will all be built into a little narrative just to make it interesting and fun. So here there'll be a large drop. You stand on this tiny ledge, and this will be covering details on the falling system. And there is an interesting falling system that I'm not going to talk about until it's implemented because I want to show it. And here is where you will then need to build your way out. Now, I haven't implemented that yet in this version, so you would basically learn how to place objects and pieces and stuff. Which would then get you through into the next room where you'll learn how to place some things, and then you'll come into the next room where you'll learn about collectibles and the shop system, and then you will end up here at the lift, where when you go into the lift you'll go up and you'll appear bing here, and that's where it will start. Each time you start the game, that's now where it will start. And of course, if you want to re-trigger to do the tutorial, you'll be able to go to the little computer here and tell it that you want to re-trigger it. So that's that one, which is
very,
good.
very polished.
It's definitely getting there.
It looks amazing.
So we've got a little bit of progress here on the challenges. So now this is an exclusive for the podcast.
Of course.
Because I haven't shared this in the devlog yet. So we have the first challenge actually kind of working. And if we come into challenge number 1, we see that there's a button, and this is what's going to start the challenge. So, breaking the ice, what if? So obviously that's just placeholder text for the moment. But the idea is we need to take out our guy. So what we have to do is... Oh, I've got some lag issues.
It's lagging.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Not sure what that was. Like I say, I've got a ton of stuff running on the machine here, so goodness knows. So this is just one way to potentially do this this challenge. Small boulder. We're going to place that there.
Boulder, yeah.
And then I'm going to jump down. Ooh, boom. And then we press go.
And this is where it goes from first person to...
Yep.
Boom!
And there we go. So automatically we've managed to get one star, diamond in this case, which will give us a credit or whatever. And we've opened the door to challenge 2. So now we can come through here. And we'll go off into challenge 2. Challenge 2 is not yet complete. So it's just, yeah. And at the moment we can't go backwards, so we have to see what we're going to do. So yeah, so that is the challenge system. So like I say, the first one is just sort of in place. It's pretty cool. It's very scalable, so we'll be able to sort of build lots of challenges off this. There's going to be quite fun in terms of how they're being handled, because we're doing basically each set of challenges. If I'll just fly through super quick. So this is the second room, and then you go through here to reach the third room, and then you will go through here to reach the fourth room,
and so on and so on.
And then you go through here to get to the fifth room, which is down a little bit of a maze. There's going to be a lot of dressing work to do in this corridor. And then this is the final challenge of the set, which then once you've completed, you go through here, you come down here, and you're back in the main corridor. So everything's kind of all interlinked, and it's really cool like that. So challenges, 6 through to 10 will be here. And the fun and interesting thing about this is you won't necessarily have to complete them linearly. You can go in there and do 1 and 2, and then you can go in there and do 6 and 7. So yeah, it's quite interesting, and it can grow forever.
Yeah, and the more complex the challenges, the better the prizes, which you can then.
Well, yeah, the plan is that each room you'll be able to gain 4 stars. It might be 5. At the moment, it's 4. It started as 3, but then we thought of another thing. So it'll cover 1 star is if you've actually just hit the ragdoll that's in the room. The second star is for time, so if you've done it within a certain time. The third star is if you've done it with only using a certain number of pieces, like things. And then the final star will be something like a special object, so that you'll have a special object in your inventory that you might have unlocked by doing a different challenge. And if you complete it using that special object, then you get that extra star. So just a few sort of reasons to kind of keep you wanting to go back in and try things again and all of that. So
just for those that might not understand, Rory, is that once you've brought those, or you've earned those credits, you then go off into the sandbox, and you can then use them in the sandbox.
That is absolutely right. So you come into here, you go into the sandbox, and when you look at your list, you'll have more things. Obviously, I've got everything, but you'll be able to sort of buy this. You know, if you want to unlock the toilet, you go to the shop with your credits and you pay and unlock the toilet, or the giant bowling ball. If you want to make a kind of weird bowling ball nightmare like that, then you unlock it, and then it will be available to play with inside of the sandbox. Boom.
And knock your ragdolls flying.
Exactly this. So yeah, and the sandbox, yeah, you know, once you've unlocked stuff, you can just sort of do whatever you want. You can build whatever you like in there.
And there's 3 different sandbox rooms, or going to be, isn't there?
There will be a few, certainly. So at the moment, completed is this small hall, which gives you not too much, but it gives you a nice amount of size to sort of play around in. There'll be a large hall, so there'll be this, but massive, like absolutely huge. So you'll be able to build enormous constructions. It'll be higher and it'll be a lot bigger. Then there's also an infinity studio, so that's just a clean single color that goes off to infinity. Which means that you can sort of set up like really interesting things on a really nice clean background, and that's obviously inspired by the original Ragdoll videos.
Yes.
From back in the day. But then we're also looking at sort of active environments. So one example that I really like is City Street. So there'll be a city street, and it'll have cars moving around. It'll have sort of environmental hazards, and you know, you build your contraptions around that. One of the things that, you know, it's kind of hard to demonstrate at the moment is the gadgetry stuff. So this is one that we have right now, which is, you know, it's just very, very simple. Let me just chuck some weights on it for now. This is a spinning wheel, which we will have attach points on, and you know, when you start this, that just starts spinning, so you can see what that does. You'll be able to actually attach this to things or attach things to it. But there'll also be a tether, thrusters, joints. So if you want to build your own like mini car, you technically can do that, you know. So there's a lot to come in terms of all the props and the bits and pieces like that.
Yeah, it's gonna look absolutely amazing as it progresses along. If we think this has only been going since December, huge progress. Huge progress. And it's just looking amazing. And I think something to point out as well, just as a reminder, that we do have the in-game save set up as well.
Yes,
so you won't lose what you've built.
Yes, so if you build something in the sandbox, you'll be able to save it as a save file, so that you can load it up again. So you can spend as much time as you want building a really elaborate contraption, and then you can save it. Where we'll go with it from there, we're not sure yet. We've got ideas, but we want to get into the player testing phase so that we can actually start seeing how people are using it, and then we'll elaborate from there. Because one of the things that I like the idea of is blueprints. So a blueprint in this context would be something like a group of things that are assembled and placed, saved as a spawnable item. So you put together lots of things and you save them as a group, and then you respawn that group so that you can place that group somewhere else. I like that idea.
When we was in London, they liked our pitch.
Oh, the pitch is Garry's Mod meets Stanley Parable.
Garry's Mod meets Stanley Parable. Those that know what Garry's Mod is and what game that is, and Stanley Parable is.
Everybody knows what Garry's Mod is.
Oh, my sister's watching, so I'm not sure.
So Garry's Mod was the original Sandbox kind of physics build contraptions.
Yeah, and that came out when that was
Do you know, I don't... My brain is telling me 2003, but I might be off.
20 years ago, yeah. Yeah. And Stanley Parable came out,
I think that was about 2016, yeah, I think so. I'm going to double check. 2006, what did I just say?
2003.
Did I say... so I was 3 years out. Okay.
So, interesting in London, when we was being asked about the game, Roy was saying, well, it's Garry's Mod meets Stanley Parable. And they absolutely loved that as a pitch because they could see in their mind's eye what the game was essentially going to be about and what it was going to look like. So, you know, that we're holding on to that because we got some amazing feedback from that. Just from that one little line.
No, that was good. That was nice. Like I say, we're getting so close now. Our next big milestones that we've got coming up is the Steam page. So the Steam page is ready. We're just literally putting together our trailer. Once we've got the trailer, we can then we'll make the Steam page live, people can then start adding to the wish list and so on. But of course, we do have the Kickstarter. Excuse me, we do have the Kickstarter page. So if you haven't already, please do me a favor, have a look in the description. There's a link that takes you to the Kickstarter. Click the notify me on launch button.
Which is in pre-campaign mode.
It is a pre-campaign page, yes, exactly. So you press the notify me on launch button, and then when we do go live, it will say there are only X number of this tier with these cool rewards on it. Quick, grab it now. So that's why you want to follow that. And also, a little bit of housekeeping from last time that I forgot the time before that. Our QR code that is just there doesn't work. So, yeah, don't bother trying to use that. If you want to sign up to our mailing list, just go to ragdollphysicsexperiments.com and then
QR code issue.
Sign up with that. I really must get round to fixing that.
Rory, what have you been doing with your time?
Well, I just sit around most of the time.
I know.
I don't do a lot.
Come on, mate.
Right.
Anyway, step up.
Enough waffling. Let's get Addison on. So before I bring Addison on, because I believe he is sitting in the lobby, I am going to roll the trailer for My Liege. Let's I'm hoping the volume on this is going to be all right. Volumes are a nightmare because I'm a bit blind on the sound. Right, here we go. Ready? Go.
My liege. As lord of a small noble house, what kind of lord will you be? As people fear starvation and battle rages with neighbors, who do you serve? The people? Your family? Your liege? Whatever you choose, all will know the worth of thy oaths.
Well, there we go.
And out on Steam.
Yeah, it's just come out. Isn't that cool? So yeah, that is really that's really cool. Looks like a great game. It looks like it. There was a game I played when I was doing my VR series quite a while back. There was a game. It was like a God game where I played that had that very similar look, and that was an awful lot of fun. It really was. So it does look
a lot of fun.
I'm going to bring him in now, and let's see if this works. And there.
There we are.
There we are. Hello, how are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for showing the trailer. I had to pause the stream over here because all of a sudden I was hearing two of y'all.
Yeah, no worries. That was good. I think it's always good to show. Start off with a trailer, get everybody so they understand what it is you're talking about. It makes it an awful lot easier to explain things, right? So anyway, yeah. So welcome along. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really
thank you for having me. I realize, it's kind of, I don't have to explain to you guys getting started how hard it is to make contacts and how many cold emails you send, and then to have someone reply back, you're like, whoa. There's people on the other end of these things. This is awesome. So
That's
thank you.
right. Yeah, no problem. There's on one of our, I think it was our first podcast, we interviewed, we spoke to a good friend of mine, Yanis, that's doing a mobile game, and he has a phrase that just resonates with me, which is, the rising tide raises all ships, and I just think this is great. I think this is where us indie developers need to kind of all stick together and try and help each other as much as possible, and anything that we can do that helps somebody else is great, and get a few more eyes on what the interesting stuff that you're doing, get you to tell us a little bit about what you're doing and so on. So if I could be so bold, do you want to do a quick introduction on yourself and tell us a little bit about what you've been up to?
Yeah, of course. I really like the stuff you were just showing off about
Thank you.
the physics and everything, like the bowling balls. I was wondering what would happen when you hit play, and exploding everywhere wasn't quite in the realm of options, but I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so my name's Addison. I'm the dev behind My Liege and SugoiPenguin Gaming. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. Before that, I was in software, making tax software for government, so real exciting stuff. And after I left that company to get kind of a break of things, I said, in between jobs, I'd like to learn something new. Let's learn a little Unity, I like games. I've been gaming since I probably was like 10, so dabbled a little bit with that, made a prototype of a game that I thought would be neat, and then my friends also thought it was neat, and it was like, oh, I'm not the only one that liked this idea. So then I went and made a demo, and then that kind of went well. So then I did Next Fest, and that went well, and so it just kind of snowballed into, I can take 3 months off to learn some Unity. I could take about 6 months or a year off to make a demo. And now we're here, and got the game released on Steam just last Monday. Mm-hmm. That's only a week ago. Man, it's been a long week.
That's a beautiful achievement. So, firstly, congratulations, well done. That is awesome.
Congratulations
to get a game out on Steam. That's the key goal, right? Is to beat the procrastination, to beat the scope creep, get past all those things that you think, but if I just do this. So to actually get a game out is fantastic. So you must be very relieved. Is it going well for you in terms of the release?
I mean, so I heard you guys are starting to put your toes into the water on making your Steam page, which that is a lot more work than I ever thought it would be. So have fun with that. And it just things have gone pretty well. It's one of those anxiety moments of just like you're excited for people to finally get to see the full thing, and to not be like, hey, can you wish list it for me so I can feed the algorithm? No, you could just be like, it's ready, it's here, it's it's good to go. But then those first hours or first few days, you're just like, oh my gosh, somebody's gonna post in the community or something that I can't get past the second level, or like some game-breaking bug exists, and then your hair on fire. So I need to knock on some wood because I'm jinxing myself right now. But so far, so good. Gotten a handful of reviews, getting some streamers to get some eyeballs on it, and hopefully the ball's rolling uphill now. So,
excellent.
That's very good. Very good.
No, that's good to hear. I just wanted to quickly go back because you were talking about that you've been playing games since you were 10. I'm curious. What is the earliest game that you remember ever playing?
Earliest game. Well, so playing might be a loose term here, but I do remember sitting on our basement floor, my aunt babysitting us, and we were playing Sonic. And now, if you remember Sonic the Hedgehog 1, like the very first one on Sega Genesis, it is not a two-player game, but there I am with my little controller pretending I'm like controlling Tails or whatnot. So playing, that would be the first one I really remember. The one I first remember like actually progressing or beating anything in, we had this hockey game on the NES, Blades of Steel.
Right.
I remember that one because I'd play against my brother. He would like mop the floor with me. It would be like 9-1 or something like that. But that is like one of the first memories I have because when I learned how to pass the puck instead of just blindly shoot it from all the way down on the end of the ice, that was a big moment for me.
Fantastic. So is any of those earlier games sort of really given the key sort of inspiration for My Liege?
Not really. Not to like say I didn't take inspiration. You play like 2 minutes of My Liege and you're like, this is really just Reigns, isn't it? That mobile game where you could swipe left or right to make decisions as the lord of your house.
Sure, right.
So that was a heavy inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like games that I played or grew up with, or that I had really enjoyed, because My Liege was definitely. I don't like the word passion project because it makes it sound like you're not passionate about anything else you do. It's like you can have more than one. But it was definitely, I wanted to make a game that I enjoyed playing. And I really like, RTSs, like your Age of Empires and things like that. But I also really like Total War games or Stellaris, those big 4X games where you get a nice narrative going. Or your Telltale games, specifically like Telltale did a Game of Thrones one. Huge Game of Thrones nerd. You'll obviously see that in My Liege if you just watch the opening main menu screen. Literally just kind of stole their build the town as your camera flies around. But I liked a lot of all those elements, but I knew that I'm not going to make a 4X game. That is a lot of buttons. That is a lot of things to get right as a wee little developer. And so I kind of tried to find a nice middle ground of all that. And that's really where I'd say the heaviest inspiration of My Liege came from, was wanting to make a game where you were leading a house or a noble house in a Game of Thrones setting. But very importantly, too many games, in my opinion, the goal is to be the king or queen, or you're going to be the top number one. And that's not realistic. Especially like in Game of Thrones, some of the most compelling stories were like the little girl from Bear Island leading her house of 200 people. Like we remember her. We remember her standing up to the baddies and whatnot. Like I wanted that. I wanted you to be that tiny house that is like, you're invited because you're a noble house, but you're like the little kids table version, and I wanted you to have to like struggle with those types of things. So that was kind of the guiding principle there. Was I would liked Reigns, I liked Crusader Kings, I liked those things, but like, what if you weren't a cool big house you weren't the Lannisters, you weren't the Starks? What if you were a tiny little house? I'm pretty sure I threw a period in there somewhere to have a sentence stop. So
well, as a massive Game of Thrones fan myself, I mean, anything based around Game of Thrones, I think, fantastic game to play, especially if you're into Game of Thrones as well.
So, in terms of Next Fest, did you said you were in the last one, were you?
Not the last one, and actually, this is, and I've got some content planned on my own YouTube channel where I'm going to kind of unpack, do a post-mortem or whatever people like to call it, where you do a lessons learned. But I did Next Fest June 2024. That's the right year. Okay. So at the time, I thought I'm doing Next Fest, and I was planning to release a fairly small game in a couple of months. So I was like, this is the right time. This is perfect. But Next Fest was a very positive experience. It made me realize, I can actually do more with this. So I kind of, you warned a little bit about scope creep and a couple of, pretty much you bring it up every podcast, it feels like. But I scope crept myself aggressively, but intentionally. So this last one in March, just like a month ago, would have been the ideal one to participate in. But also, I probably wouldn't have put in all the extra effort if I hadn't done the one in June and gotten inspired. So, 2020 in hindsight, but a very positive experience. Steam does a lot of amazing things to get eyeballs on your project. That, you know, after trying to get eyeballs on the project without Steam, you know, without Steam's personalized like Next Fest queues and whatnot, so much more grateful. Like trying to get impressions is so much harder without Steam's help.
Yeah, no, I know this very well. So in terms of streamability and so on, I mean, this is a game that's going to be good for streaming, right? So have you managed to get it into the hands of any interesting streamers that have kind of made things that you've kind of gone, oh, that's a good approach, or anything like that?
Yeah, and actually, you briefly mentioned playtesting, and seeing what people do with your physics games, like what do they actually do with your ragdolls?
Yes,
you know, that is an incredibly eye-opening experience. So yeah, between having people playtest it in my like friend group, and then getting some randos that just kind of I connected with on Steam or YouTube comments or whatnot, getting it in more people's hands was a really helpful thing just for learning about the game and what was working and what wasn't working. And then for the marketing stuff, probably should have gotten a little bit ahead of the game. I was a little bit late. Your guest, I'm forgetting her name that you had a month ago.
Jackie.
Yeah, I needed to hear her like 6 months ago.
Right. Yeah.
But you know, 2020 hindsight once again.
Exactly. This is a lessons learned thing, and it's something that it's really easy to sort of overlook that side of it, and you know, it's one of the reasons why with Ragdolls, literally from day one, the first devlog is me standing in an open Unreal map, you know, the default texture on the floor and cubes around me, and you know, I was like, right, I'm going to start. I'm literally just going to go through and document everything. So like you say, it's so important to sort of start that drive early, and and
it's just a logistics thing. Even if I reach out to a streamer and they get the idea, you know, they have to find time in their schedule to record it, and then they have to, you know, whether they're streaming on Twitch and then that's a one and done thing, or they're going to make a review content or write an article, you know, you got to budget in probably like a 2-month window from when you're hoping that content actually hits. So it's definitely, there are so many tasks as an indie dev that you feel like, oh, I need to get this done now. That can happen later. And it's just there's so many things that are competing for the right now. But I have gotten a handful of streamers, no like big household names. Even though if Splattercat's listening, that would be amazing for you guys. But also, check your inbox. I've sent you a couple.
Always worth
but
a
yeah,
go.
like a handful of you know, nice people in like that 400 to 500 followers on Twitch, or you know, like double or triple digit subscribers on YouTube. Those have been very nice people and very receptive to you know, those cold emails. Probably like half of them I hear back from rather than 1%. And I probably should have came with a better shout out, but I can't remember all the stream names I read all the time. But one that just played it was Ravi Plays Games, a nice VTuber. She played through it and got almost to the end of the game, which I was like, oh, I really wanted to find out what ending you got, but that's fine. Most of it's been very kind, very like eye-opening too, of like, people are picking that option. I put that thinking nobody would pick it, but
as you say, it's really eye-opening. I think I even talked about it on one of the previous podcasts. My previous game, Who is Abby? This is the thing that stuck with me, like probably the most. When we first set out to make it, the idea was to have it completely open, so the map, you could go anywhere and you could see any part of the map at any time. And because it was set in the first level is set in a forest, it meant that you literally had freedom to explore. And in my brain, that's amazing. That's exactly what people want. They want to be able to explore. They want freedom. They don't want bounds. They don't want linearity. And honestly, the first few people that we put in front, I watched them walk off the path, walk into the trees, and then couldn't find the path again, and then had no idea where they were, and were having a miserable time. So yeah, we had to completely.
Sounds trivial. They want to explore. You did that for them, and then I had one of my close friends. First time he touched a game, I even showed him like there's a tutorial thing that's like controls. Use WASD to move the camera and look around, and I'm like making this 3D world for the events of the game to play out in. And that son of a, he never moved the camera once. He played it like a sole text adventure, and I like asked him, I'm like, why didn't you look at anything? He's like, oh, I kind of just forgot. And that was soul crushing at first, but it made me there was a lesson there to take away, and it's always, you got to find the lessons. And that one was, I just needed to make the world more interesting, and at times drive the camera for the player so that they remember there's a camera, or something like that. So, but mind-boggling to hear.
It is. I mean, you'll hear most people complain about that. They don't want hand-holding. But in all fairness, I think the right approach is to find a way to hold their hand without them realizing. As odd as that sounds, but if you give people too much freedom, they either don't take advantage of all the stuff that you've put tons of time in to give them, or they kind of just miss it. So so as a solo dev, how do you find that? What's your kind of, how are you getting on with sort of handling everything yourself?
I guess there's a lot of angles I could take that, and I even wrote notes down, and I'm not even consulting them once over here, so it's not a great sign. But so coming into this, I had only really done programming for large, like, commercial off-the-shelf style software, very form fillable, heavy type of stuff. So very little like graphics or 3D modeling or audio design or a lot of those other tasks. So I told myself from the get-go, like, I had a much smaller scale, so I was like, I can at least try to do everything myself. And so I tried my hand at a little 3D modeling, and I was like, I'm not very good at this. But then, like, you do it a little bit more, and you're like, oh, hey, this looks better now. And then you try it a little bit more, and what started as I made a hoe by adding a cylinder with a metal rectangle at the top and been like, ta-da, this is a farming implement. And now I look at, like, one of the last models I made was this, like, green, I think the fancy name is Tyrolean, but it's like the green archer hat with the feather in it. And right. I a year ago never would have been able to come up with that, but that took me a half hour to make, because, like, I just kept beating my head against the wall and slowly getting better and better. On the flip side, though, there's tasks where I just didn't really find the passion behind it, and that's gonna be a problem. Like, if you're setting out to do it all by yourself, there's some tasks that just are gonna suck, and maybe you pick a game to design that leverages what you're good at and avoids the things you're bad at. I really wanted to avoid an uncanny valley, or just like, your guys of Ragdoll, you don't have to worry about their facial expressions very much. I'm not saying you are avoiding. It might just be a happy accident. But for me, I was avoiding it. I was like, okay, we got this little yellow meeple looking guy, blank face. He didn't even have hands originally. He was just like a board game piece. And I'm like, okay, I won't have to animate faces. Check. And so, but then he grew on me a lot, and then I added the ability to give him, like, mustaches and eyebrows and hats and all sorts of things. So I found a way to grow that into an intentional choice, but the original choice was just like, faces scare me.
Right.
There was a lot of that, a lot of finding the things I was actually good at and finding the things of, like, how can I do this so that I'm happy with the result, but also I'm not spending months to learn a whole new process or skill or program or whatnot.
Yeah,
I just didn't have that much time.
Sure. So what would you say is kind of, out of all of the elements of it, what would you say is the hardest, or the bit that you found the hardest, perhaps?
I think I'm this is a really great way to pitch my game, but I'm just not a very natural salesman. If I worked at a store where I earn commission and someone was like, I'm looking at this, I don't know, dumb bullshit I don't need. Do I need this? I'd be like, nah, you already have a frying pan at home. Why would you need a wok? Like, I'm not doing a very good job there. And so, like, this end process of how to present my game to be, click worthy or get people's attention or marketing in general has just been very much outside my comfort zone. And luckily I've got a friend, what title did I give him? The executive marketing penguin. That's his title, because he just was very good at pushing me to make sure that I was always like, hey, have you been posting on Reddit? No. And then I go and do some, groundwork there. But that was definitely an area where I needed to lean on some expertise of friends that were just as invested at seeing it succeed and give me a little bit of a push.
So on the social media side of things, where have you kind of seen the most success, kind of the best feedback in general, and the kind of best response?
Anything that I've done on my own, Next Fest was a billion times better. So
sure.
I can't emphasize enough, timing your Next Fest correctly so you have as good of a product and as close to your release date, huge. That is huge. But social media wise, like Facebook was fine once or twice, like basically was like, hey, friends and family, look at this thing. But like you weren't getting a new audience every time. So that was a good venue for getting people that would care that I was making a game, and I just needed to kind of keep them in the loop a little bit. BlueSky was pretty good. They have a fairly good like indie community and stuff like that. They have bots that help repost and get things in front of more eyes so you can get higher impressions. Haven't quite cracked the secret on getting engagement from BlueSky, but definitely was able to at least find more of the indie community there, so I felt more connected and invested and more in the groove of things. And then I've had a YouTube account for a long time where I post just silly let's plays for my friends. And I just started posting devlogs on there originally so that my dad could visualize what I was talking about.
Nice.
With game development. Yeah. And then as I took it more seriously, I'm like, okay, actually the YouTube channel should be how I approach, putting stuff out there that I can then have everything point to, like the trailer, for instance, that you showed. And then have only done one paid advertising thing. I ran a YouTube ad. It was actually that trailer, and really good for impressions.
Right.
Barely good at getting clicks to the Steam page.
Right.
Absolute mystery what you have to do to make somebody wishlist the game. I think it's still to get people to actually wishlist it, you have to have a good product. And so I think an important thing of that is, how do you find the audience that will care about your game best? And if you guys figure it out, like, hit me up in an email, because I need to get better.
We've been asking ourselves the same questions.
Yeah, and you guys are trying to like fund it through grants and Kickstarters and stuff, and like I set aside an amount of my savings and said, this is what I'm comfortable spending, and I didn't think about funding after that. You guys have a whole extra layer of the onion that I don't envy at all.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean that was I don't know if you saw the stream last night from our indie games on their Twitch. They had Jason Della Rocca doing information around funding and marketing and all of that. And like his biggest point from that I kind of took away was that you need the triangle, which is a creative, a technical, and a business. You need to have these to sort of really be able to kind of push through it. I dare say that it's that's not the be all and end all, but yeah, it absolutely is going to help if you've got somebody on board that is very business minded and that's what they're able to do. I fall into the category of I will just keep running unless there's someone holding the hood behind me, and I'll be running in every direction going, I want to add that and I want that in there and this should happen. And so that's why from my side, yeah, it's great to have someone else on board that can rein you in from certain things. So that's again, that's one of the reasons why I'm curious. When you're handling everything all on your own, how you kind of handle the business side of things versus the gamer side of you and the programmer side of you, because it's a tricky one, right?
Yeah, it's I think it's like a chicken and an egg situation at times. Like there is moments where I'm like, okay, I really want to get more, try to be more marketing conscious. But then I was like, well, the game's not to a point where I really want, like if I get one shot to show somebody the game, it's not quite there yet. So then I would go develop some things and then I would come back and like, okay, now we're good. I'll shoot the trailer, all that stuff. But then I still should have been doing something back then. Like it's just a tough thing to balance of like, I think of the game Tiny Glade. I'm forgetting the lead dev's name, but she did an amazing job on her Twitter and now on BlueSky, just putting out little like daily updates of like, I made the window render better. Yeah. Very trivial stuff. Yeah. For you could have just been like, oh, we added the joke graffiti man, like a very simple update. But they did a masterclass at just being consistent, posting small, like visually legible things of progress, but kept people involved. And I think one problem is I was creating a narrative game, and so for like 3 months straight, the only update was writing dialogue. Like, not much to show there, do you like looking at text documents?
Yeah, I think though you're absolutely right, and this is something I've endeavoured to try and stay consistent, but I've always found things constantly get in the way. Hold-ups happen, you get distracted, and that's certainly an area where I struggle is to maintain that consistency. So that I think there's a lot that is said for doing that, and you're absolutely right. That is such a great approach to simply take small little snippets, snapshots, exactly, but just keep putting them out, and again, just from my kind of point of view, I struggle with the idea that if I just put out that graffiti man, it's not enough. Come on, people will laugh at me. I need more. And that's again, it's an internal battle that I have.
I think we've found 1 to 2 seconds. That's it. If you haven't got someone in 1 to 2 seconds, then they're gone.
I mean, I look at how I consume like YouTube Shorts or just scrolling through BlueSky. I don't linger very long, and I like understand the struggle these people are going through to grab my attention. And even me, I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. I just I'm cruising, and it's like it is tough. And so especially making the trailer, I really like y'all's with like the assembly line and all that. I'm not even sure if there's any assembly line involved in what you guys are planning for the final game, but it's a good visually interesting process of getting to watch you kind of like show off all these different little moving parts that could be in the game. And really quick shout out to Jeff Steitzer. Amazing. Probably the best money I've spent so far on the project yet. He did the voiceover of the cameo. That was a long shot. I was like, that guy from Halo is not going to voice my trailer. That'd be silly. But then he said yes. So that was really cool.
That's amazing.
But I really wanted him within the first like second to say the name of the game. So I was like, how do I write this script just so that if you swiped early, you heard him say "My Liege," and hopefully I would catch the nerds being like, "What's that? No, that wasn't double kill, guy. Like, no." But so yeah, like trying to be very intentional. You do not have long to catch people's attention.
No, not at all.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. Right, so we are pretty much done for the time. It's been fantastic talking to you. I could carry on for hours, I reckon. But I have to ask you the question now. As somebody that's obviously seen a few of our podcasts, you probably should know the final question that I always ask. And if you don't, then it's good, because now you're going to be on the spot. But what is the one piece of advice, the single most important piece of advice that you would give to somebody that is just starting their adventure in indie game dev?
Yeah, so I already touched on, use your friends. You're a solo dev, like leverage your friends. If somebody wants to like help out, make a 3D object, let them. Like I didn't make any of the houses in the game. That was my buddy Andrew. But my for real piece of advice is actually echoing something that Thor, the pirate software guy, was talking about, and it's don't like use tutorials and stuff on the internet, but don't measure yourself compared to them. My go-to example is I know very little Blender. Blender is a very hard program to ingest for me. So I use Unity's Pro Builder tool that's like built in. I could stand for it or simp for it for 5-10 minutes here. I won't. But the point is, use the tools you're comfortable with. There is no right way to do this tough task of making a video game. If you like to make your pixel art in GIMP, great. If you're using Paint 3D, fine, that's awesome. If you're, use whatever tool that makes sense to you and is comfortable for you. And sure, someday I might learn Blender, but if I don't, that's fine. But if you listen to the people on the internet or the tutorials that like so many forum posts are like, you're using Pro Builder, only real devs use Blender. And I'm like, that's fine. They can use Blender. I'm going to use what I'm using. Like, it works for what I'm trying to do. So don't let anything discourage you like that. Don't measure yourself to other people. There's always somebody that has some aspect of their game that's going to make yours look like garbage. But your game's also doing something unique that makes theirs look like garbage too. So there's a concise point somewhere in there.
No, I think the point that I take from that is I agree with 100%, which is a mantra that I've always stuck with, which is there's no right or wrong way. There's only a better or a worse way. And as long as, exactly as you say, as long as you're comfortable with it and it does what you need it to do, it gets you where you need it to get you, then do it, and don't be afraid of people trying to belittle you for that. The idea of gatekeeping on stuff like that just boggles my mind. I do not understand it. So I completely agree with you, and I think that is fantastic advice. Yeah, I mean, even I put a video up on Reddit a little while back of me showing how I was putting cube collision inside of a cylinder with enough cubes to make it still smooth. And the sheer number of people that said, just export it into Blender and do it like that. Like, well, I don't use Blender for a start.
Exactly.
So if I learn Blender, that's going to take me a couple of weeks. That took me 5 minutes. Like, what's the problem? So yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. So yeah, really, really good point. Very, very valid. So anyway, there we go. So quickly, tell us, the game's My Liege. It's available on Steam. You've got a demo available, so anyone can go and grab the demo and give it a try. Your social medias, what's the best one for anybody to want to follow you on?
Yeah, so on BlueSky, I'm just SugoiPenguin Gaming, and on YouTube, I'm Sir Bulington. Somebody already was sitting on the SugoiPenguin many, many years ago. I've waited for them to abandon the account. They have not, so I'm still Sir Bulington. And yeah, those are really the two best places. Or just hit me up on like Steam or really anywhere you can track me down.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
All right. Addison, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Addison.
And
Yeah, thank you guys.
We'll hopefully we'll catch up again and find out how you've been getting on once your game's been out a little while, and see what progress you've made.
Yeah, I'm excited for when you guys have your Steam page. Wish list that quick. Also, you guys are in early campaign of the Kickstarter, right?
We're
It's
in the
not live yet?
pre-campaign.
Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
Pre-campaign,
Yes.
that's the term.
Yes. Yep. So currently
best
working
of
on
luck with
building
all
that
that.
following. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Right, cool. Okay, I will kick you out of the chat now and catch you again later.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers, Addison. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen.
Right, there we go.
Yeah. Very interesting. Listening to him as Addison there as a single dev.
Yep.
Trying to manage everything.
Yep.
And that's been, it's been a struggle with us all working on it, hasn't it? With me and you banging heads together all the time.
Well, yeah, exactly. Bear with me. I was just trying to find something to put up on that other screen, so
Yeah,
it's not
right,
just. But I accidentally closed my looping video, so I've just got to bring it back up again.
There we go.
There we go. Right, there we go. At least we've got something sitting there. So there we go. Yes,
Very interesting.
that was great. Really good chat.
I mean, he's having to deal with all that. I mean, with you on the creative, me on the business side, Jim on the dev side, we've got kind of like a fairly decent balance there. I always feel. I don't have the knowledge on the gaming side, but I have the knowledge on the business side, and we can bring in. There's a lot of good thought process that goes on between us two, especially all the time.
Yeah, well, like I say, that's why it's good to have somebody to rein me in, and to sort of get me to question things that I'm doing. And that's something that I think is really important. Is always question what you're doing. Is it viable, valuable?
And also, it's like with Jackie as well. She comes on with a lot of good things that have helped us as well in terms of understanding the market out there, understand how little time you've got to really grab someone's attention. To try and get them in to take notice, doing lots and lots and lots of posts on social media is something that we got really good at. Then it died off. Then we got to build it up again.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's constant. It's kind of like walking through treacle, isn't it? It's like really hard work, trying to get people to say hello. We're here. This is us. This is our game. And it's really, really hard work, isn't it? All the time.
It is. It is.
And that's with me and you doing it. So hats off to doing it on his
Yeah,
own.
like I say, I've got huge respect for anyone that can handle all of this on their own.
Yeah.
It boggles the mind when I try and think about it. Because I already do so many different elements. If I wasn't getting help with some of them, it's
overwhelming, isn't it?
Exactly. So yeah, really very impressive. So anyway, let's wrap this one up. This was a great podcast. Thank you very much to everybody that joined.
Thank you, everyone.
If you haven't already, please do head over to our Kickstarter page. Click that notify on launch button. Yeah. It's very, very important.
Be very, very helpful.
And obviously don't forget to keep up on the YouTube channel. If you're not already, make sure you subscribe, because we're regularly putting up cool little updates. Similar to what we displayed earlier, and we're going to continue this run of absolutely fantastic guests joining us, which are always interesting, always valid, and you can learn so much.
Next one is on the 20th. Next podcast is on the 20th of April.
Yeah, no, so obviously we missed the last one, but typically we do them every 2 weeks. I would say bi-weekly, but that bi-weekly works two ways, right? Because bi-weekly either means twice a week, or it means once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's not get it too. let's not get it too complicated.
So we just say every 2 weeks.
I'm just looking at who the next guest is actually, which is, I believe, Phil French from Cedar Studios.
Ooh, that'll be exciting.
So he's been waiting a while to come on, because that always goes back all the way back to the Guildford Games Festival that I went to.
Right, okay. Oh, well, there we go.
So Phil's going to be coming on from Cedar Studios, talk about all things composing, audio, all that sort of thing. So that'd be very interesting.
Oh, well, there we go. That is
we look forward to meeting Phil and being able to have a good chat.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you very much again, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.